Thanks for checking out another clip of the Cashflow Contractor. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. Click subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
The role of an owner kind of changes as you begin to grow the business, right? So like I've always said, between 0 and 200,000, really the role of the owner is that of a laborer. They're doing the work, like using your hands. You're out there, you're having physical stress, just getting work done. And then as you begin to grow from like 200,000 to 800,000 in annual revenue, that's when you have to become a great manager. That's the role of the owner, is now being a manager. You manage other people to do the work. You work through them. You can't be out in the field every day. You're quote out of the field. You're out off the truck. You're doing more sales and admin, etc. And that stress is usually around finances, because your margins drop significantly when you stop becoming a revenue producing team member. But then I think like once you pass 800,000, a million, and start to scale the business, really the role of the owner switches to that of an architect. And that's someone who steps away from the building. They're not even managing the people that are doing the work. They have no idea how to do the concrete. They have no idea how to actually implement what they've written down, but they know how to step back, observe, and then be able to find people to go then manage the people that actually do the work. And so many times I find a contracting business will stop growing because the founder fails to go to the next level of leadership that is required for them to keep growing. And so what happens, how that looks, is a $1 million company where the owner jumps into the field when things go bad. It is the owner that is just getting started and only $100,000 in annual revenue. They just got their first few projects under their belt, and they're trying to think about like acquisitions and multiple locations and hiring a general manager. And it's like, no, you're in this stage. You should be a laborer. And then over here, you're an architect. Stop jumping into the field. There is no admiration in trying to like lead from the top when you're a multi-million-dollar company. You should not be doing that. The architect doesn't jump in and be like, let me help you dig that. And so that's kind of what I've seen, just to kind of follow up on your point.
No, that's really great. I think one that I also see, and I'm curious if you see this, is the owner really being so heavily involved in sales, and especially probably in that 2 to 800 phase, even up to the 2 million stage. And what ends up happening is they start trying to create value through the sales process rather than sticking to like, no, like this is the system that we use. This is how we sell. These are the, line items. And it essentially spreads the scope of work too far. And then they start doing all these random things for people rather than staying to like what they should be doing. And that limits growth as well. Do you see that a lot?
Yeah, 100%. Recently I did an analysis of a little over 100 companies, some of them in Augusta, some of them outside lawn care, almost 150, all home services, and consistently across the board with very low levels of variance. The levels of profits from $800,000 in annual revenue to $1.5 million in annual revenue, there's like a gap there. Like no one makes more money in that phase. And basically you have to double the business. And the reason for that many times is, to your point, you have to go hire more overhead people, because you can no longer manage everything by yourself in terms of overhead. Like at 600,000, you can have a part-time office person manage all the jobs, manage all the sales, do all the hiring. When you start getting past 800,000, you have to start delegating, but that comes at a cost. And so many times what then we do as owners, we slide into the sales role and we put on our hat, a sales hat, like you said, and like, oh, I'll offer that service and I'll customize this and I'll alter this. Like, oh yes, you can do the irrigation. We'll also add that. And, oh, we'll do a wall too. Yeah, we'll figure that out. And we're doing that because we're trying to get to we have to keep growing the business just to make ends meet. And so I agree with you 100% in terms of like, how can we simplify the business? How we cut out services? Like the fastest way to grow any business is add more services and add more geographic expansion. Like just serve more people. That's the fastest way to grow. Also the least profitable. Also usually the least for your sanity. The reason I say sanity is because it's impossible to hand off to people. I would rather have a business that has $700,000-$800,000 in annual revenue, but I can hand it off to basically anyone with 2 or 3 weeks of training, versus having a $1.5-2 million business. And to your point, I have to train someone for 6 months on the sales process because it's all over the place. And so also when you look at enterprise value, or what could I sell this business for, it's a really good indicator as to how have I built this business in a way where it produces value in excess of the assets on my books. And that only comes as a result of being able to have the systems where you can hand it off to someone else and they can sell. Because if you can't sell, you can't have operations and you can't have admin, systematizing the business, no one wants it. It becomes a job. And so I think that's like a good framework sometimes to understand, like, letting go of things, systematization, cutting out services, cutting out service areas is important. I talked to a contractor the other day who's doing $4.5 million in annual revenue. They have about $25,000 a month in payments on some debt and another $20,000 in debt that they're trying to pay off per month in payments. And they're really in a bad spot because they can't not grow. They have to keep generating enough leads just to pay the debt payments. But I think that so many contractors, we actually stripped it back. It's like, why did we grow the business in a way where we had 30 departments? Why did we grow the business in a way where no one could do the sales process? Like, you're stuck. Like the individual I was talking to is stuck. They have to keep growing. They have to keep pouring money into marketing, and they have to keep offering services they know are not profitable simply to be able to pay the bills. And so this is why, like, I'm passionate about this, but like even your guys' podcast, like cash flow, make profit, like build businesses that has systems in it. Like everyone talks about like built to sell. I love that book. I think about it too as like built to leave. I want to build my business in a way where I can leave the business and I can pass it off to my family down the road. I can sell it to someone else. I can do a lot of things, or I can hand it off to a general manager and I go on a vacation. Just to kind of back up what you're saying there.
No, that's great. We talk about that a lot.
Excellent.
Martin, why don't you talk a little bit about the dangers of growth? I know that one thing, like if I say, hey, Martin, I want to double my business, what's the challenge with that?
Well, I think Mike has done a great job. People think the challenge is selling, and that may be, but it's not the challenge. It's can you keep up with it? The concept of working capital. A lot of people wind up in the business and never heard of that. If you're going to double your sales and you don't change systemically, you're doubling your receivables. If you have inventory, I don't know whether you guys mostly have inventory, but unless you improve your system there, you have double the inventory. So it's ignorance, but I love what you're saying about focus. That comes up in my coaching all the time. You said sprinklers. We're landscapers. We're going to do sprinklers. Okay. It could be, I'm trying to think of one I had this week. Well, that's a related business. I said, it's a related business you know nothing about.
But it's on a house. It's on a house. Surely I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. It's a service and it's to people,
I can make
right?
money doing this. No problem.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if you've known me very long, you know that I'm always talking about variable costs and keeping the margins up. But there also is the overhead, keeping the damn overhead down. And like if one way I like to express it, if somebody leaves, a critical person, a manager leaves, do not hire a replacement until you're absolutely sure you needed that position in the first place. Because once you get the people in, it's pretty hard to go out there and tell them, we really don't need you. You're dead weight. So anyway, yeah, it's staying efficient. It's focus. I think Mike, you just mentioned almost all of it. To be aware of it, I mean, it's so sexy to got my first $1 million job. Really? Well, I'm coming to the funeral and I'll get the flowers ordered because you're dead. I mean, I have a client that there's no chance. They had no idea of it. It's $1 million and they had a discount to get it.
Thanks for checking out a clip from the Cashflow Contractor. We have full episodes where we go deep on topics that help you grow a construction business that runs without you so you can have less stress, more time, more money. Now, we've got other videos, other clips, but if you want to check out the full episode for this clip, you can click wherever our editor put it. It might be here, it might be there, it might be over my face, I don't know. But thank you for checking us out. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. So subscribe or check out a full episode wherever you get podcasts.